What did Chester Bennington do for a living before he became famous in music? What was the original name of Linkin Park supposed to be? And why didn't the tattoo on his back cost him a penny? Chester Bennington. It's Saturday, March 20th, 1976, and Chester Charles Bennington is born in Phoenix, Arizona. His father is a policeman and his mother works as a nurse. The couple already has one son. However, he is 13 years older than Chester, so they don't spend much time together. Unfortunately, Chester doesn't have a very happy childhood. When he is 7 years old, he is sexually abused by a man close to the family. The abuse lasts for a long 6 years and only stops when Chester's parents divorce. The father gains custody of the young boy. Chester does not remember this part of his life fondly. Moreover, he is bullied at school, but that's not all. As a young man, he gets into marijuana, cocaine, opium, LSD, and methamphetamine. He, therefore, has a very serious drug addiction, which he also alternates with alcohol. At the age of 17, he moves in with his mother, who gives him a curfew. And he can be really grateful for that. His mother's unique approach helps Chester with his drug addiction and he can thus focus on school. He first studies at Greenway High School, then transfers to Washington High School, where he graduates in 1994. He loves music and his favorite bands are Depeche Mode, Stone Temple, and Black Sabbath. He soon starts making music himself, and because he realizes that he has an interesting voice, he sticks to singing. He starts performing with his friends in the band Grey Daze. He and drummer Sean Dowdell then moved to another band called Bucket of Weenies, where they mostly play covers of famous rock bands. In addition to music, Chester loves tattoos, so various tattoos begin to appear on his body and build his rocker image. Around that time, he meets the love of his life, Samantha, and on October 31, 1996, he marries her. And since they don't have enough money for jewelry, they have their wedding rings tattooed on their ring fingers. At that time, Chester is not making a living from music and has to work at Burger King. One day the phone rings and a certain Mike Shinoda invites him to audition for their band. Chester impresses the other members at the audition so much that they immediately take him in and he becomes their singer. The band comes up with their name and wants to be called Hybrid Theory. However, the members soon find out that another band is already called the same thing. So the suggestion for Linkin Park comes up. Hooray, no band uses this name. However, there is another catch. Websites that contain the name Linkin Park exist, so it is not possible to register a website with this band name. The third and final name suggestion finally succeeds. It is the name we know the band by today, Linkin Park. A new millennium begins and Linkin Park are about to release their debut album, Hybrid Theory, an album featuring songs like Crawling or In the End. Mike Shinoda even creates the album cover himself. The album is experiencing unprecedented success. On their tour, the band plays an incredible 324 concerts in a year and the CD sells over 30 million copies. By the way, it is still one of the most successful albums of the 21st century. There is also an interesting story about a certain bet circulating about the album. Chester allegedly bet one of his friends that his first album would go platinum. The album ended up not going platinum, but even diamond, and the friend had to pay for Chester to get a tattoo across his entire back. The band is becoming more and more famous all over the world and Chester is slowly finding out what it's like to be a music star. There are also things he doesn't like about his job. For example, concert organizers often want him to lip-sync for better sound. He refuses because he would feel like a thief who robbed the fans of their experience. On April 19, 2002, Chester and his wife Samantha have a son, Draven Sebastian. A year later, another album called Meteora is released. Although it does not achieve the success of the previous album, it immediately reaches number 3 on the American charts and wins several awards. After the 2004 tsunami, the band organizes a benefit concert to support the victims in Southeast Asia. They continue to tour and release more albums, but none are as successful as the first two. Except for the album Minutes to Midnight, which sold over 600,000 copies in its first week. Chester has the music world at his feet, but because of that, he has almost no time for his wife. She is no longer happy with her husband's membership in Linkin Park, so the couple divorces in 2005. But Chester doesn't stay single for long. In December 2005 he marries model Linda Bentley, and in March 2006 they have a son, Tyler Lee. Chester starts a side band called Dead by Surprise at that time. However, it does not achieve great success. So he mainly focuses on Linkin Park, with whom he even visits Prague in 2007 and 2008. The singer is tempted to try something other than music. And because he has had a love for tattoos his whole life, he decides to open his own tattoo parlor in Las Vegas in 2009. Linkin Park is one of the most famous bands in the world at that time, and that also brings many awards. They have won, for example, 2 Grammys, 6 American Music Awards, 4 MTV Music Video Awards, and 3 World Music Awards. At the same time, they were included in the top 10 best bands of the new millennium by more than one magazine. However, the life of a musician is not entirely beneficial to Chester's health. During one tour, he starts drinking again and he manages to finally recover from his addiction in 2011. On August 10, 2013, they released the song A Light That Never Comes with Steve Aoki for the online game LP Recharge. They also released the album Recharged, which contained 13 of their remixed songs, but the project met with very mediocre reviews. In 2015, they begin preparing a new album, One More Light, which is the first album to bear the name of a song that is on the album. It is an album focused on lyrics and collaboration with other artists. With the new album, they want to return to the spotlight. The album is scheduled for release in 2017. It's May 2017 and Chester is hit by the news that his great friend Chris Cornell has hanged himself. The day after, the band performed on Jimmy Kimmel's show and played the song One More Light in his honor. Chester is so moved that he is unable to finish singing the end. He subsequently begins to suffer from panic attacks and is not in the best mental state. In 2017, the band goes on tour in Europe. In June, they also stop in Prague and most people praise the concert because it seems that Chester is already fine. In mid-July, Mike Shinoda says in an interview that Chester is doing well mentally for the first time in a long time. He says that he is spending time with his family and enjoying life. But apparently, it was only an appearance. The 20th of July 2017 will be remembered by the band's fans as a day they will never forget. Chester Bennington is found hanged in his home. He was 40 years old. He had no drugs in his blood, but there was a half-empty bottle of alcohol in the room. No one will ever know why the talented singer took his own life. Some people think it was because of depression, others that he wanted to meet Chris Cornell in the afterlife. It is strange that he hanged himself on the exact day of Chris's unlived 53rd birthday. He left behind a wife and 6 children. A few months later, the album One More Light is released. Chester did not live to see its release, but for the fans, it was at least one last chance to encounter the new music he created.